District 3 on the structure fire, engine 7-3, squad 7-3, engine 7-2, truck 7-5, truck 7-4, SAM 7-1, battalion 7-1, medic 7-1, and medic 7-4 on a structure fire, 11846 Josephine Street.
7 responding, Josephine.
SAM 7-1 responding.
Units en route to the structure fire. We have RP calling in stating he can smell smoke coming from the vents and he sees smoke. He is actually a neighbor.
It was kind of a drizzly, cool day outside. The call came in as possible smoke showing from a neighbor. It was not a homeowner that had called it in. But there was even some not real clarity on what the call was. There was no flame showing or anything like that. When we arrived on scene, it was about as reported, and there was very little signs of a fire in the house.
I gave my size up. It was a small 2-story residential with light smoke showing from the attic vents. I got out, did my 360. I honestly wasn't thinking basement fire. As I walked by, there was a window well on the Delta and the Bravo walls for the base mount. It was a lookout window wells. When I went by them, one of them had shades on it, and I didn't see anything for basement fire like spalling from the concrete. The windows were still intact. I didn't see any fire or any type of smoke from there, so I wasn't thinking that. I also didn't have enough information to just say on the air that it wasn't a basement fire after my 360. So I gave my size up. I said we were going to remain in the offensive strategy, and going through the alpha side.
Dispatch from 118th Command, 360 is complete. I do have light smoke showing from the interior windows. We'll stay in the offensive strategy from the alpha side.
Engine 7-3, Command.
7-3, go.
Basement status?
I'm still on the exterior getting ready. My paramedic just came out and said there is possible basement fire.
SAM 7-1, Command.
SAM 7-1, go ahead.
Can you take a look at the 360 a little bit closer? Give me a little bit more information on that basement. We're seeing water coming from the Bravo side of the building from the water fixtures.
It was kind of strange at the time. We saw water coming out the side of the house through the hose bib at the water faucet on the Bravo side of the house. And we started putting the pieces together and realized that this fire was down in the basement.
When incidents progress slowly like that, when there's smoke through an entire structure, it's wise to take a little bit of time to really size it up carefully, cautiously going at it so that we don't overcommit.
I got out and I went straight to the front door, and I actually opened the front door and touched the door. It actually felt warm. I didn't see any fire, but I could see smoke coming out from the eaves and up through the roof. We got the hose line ready, bled it, and prepared to make entry. The front door was locked on the house. We did have to force the door, and me and firefighter Morris were the first two to make entry into this house.
When the crews forced entry in the alpha side door, there was an abundance of smoke that came out the front side. It was light gray smoke. It was not heavy black smoke, and no flames were seen. With reported light to moderate heat in the front doorway.
Made entry through the front door in the Alpha. It was a cold day, so immediately my mask condensed and fogged up. I was able to clear it with one wipe. Light smoke in the room. I saw maybe about 10, 15 feet in front of me.
Since we didn't have a good handle on homeowners, where they were at, my thought process is that we needed to get a search completed on the house to make sure that we had accountability of where the homeowners were at.
There was a staircase on the left, so I walked past the staircase and the hose lines to the living room, and there was something dark on the left side of the room. It looked like a bookcase, so I took a peek to see if there was anyone behind that bookcase. I didn't see anyone.
My first job was to find where the basement was. I wasn't exactly sure where it was. I started right behind the front door, which looked like it was a closet, and I actually found the basement door right behind the front door.
We're at the stairwell to the basement. We have moderate heat. We're going to be making entry down to the basement.
Copy, make an entry into the basement.
As I opened the basement door, I could see down the first run. It was half of a staircase. I could see the wall. So there was smoke coming up, but it wasn't dark smoke at all. And I wasn't really sure exactly what we had in the basement. As I turned, there was a return on the stairs, and I took one step, and the top step that was going down into the basement gave way, and firefighter Morris grabbed my pack, and he pulled me, and we both fell to that landing.
There's some decent smoke in there. I couldn't see Roy, and Van Dissel had said Roy just went through the floor right in front of me, and I was like, Mayday, 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 and just grabbed the mic and went with it. It was just like training. I mean, we'd gone through it before with the blue card stuff, and so I just didn't even think about it. I just knew that I wanted to be real clear about what I was saying. I couldn't believe it actually had happened. I mean, it really was 2 steps inside the door, and this isn't real.
Mayday, 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 firefighter through the floor right inside the front door.
Copy, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Priority traffic, engine 6-3, firefighter through the floor, front door.
Command, engine 7-3, getting an attic ladder at the front door.
Copy, attic ladder to the front door.
Because it was a very clear, very urgent but not stressful type of a mayday. And then it dawned on me that it was our mayday. It was somebody had gone through the floor on this particular house. From that time forward, for the next couple of minutes, were very chaotic. Span of control was lost. Crews rushed in to try and help, which complicated it even more. We did have a problem. We had several chiefs that were on hand. Everybody wanted to get in and help. And I lost my control for a little bit on who was doing what.
We have firefighters who will be coming off the outside. We also see no fire in the basement at this time.
Command copies, no fire seen in the basement.
Also, a firefighter has been extracted coming off the outside. We still have moderate heat in the house.
Firefighter has been removed, is in medical care. He is ambulating. All crews exit the structure and par.
So after taking a peek at that bookcase, my first step to the right, I instantly fell. It was a weird sensation. You never train for it or expect it. It happened so fast. I reached out initially, kind of felt some resistance, like I was able to catch myself, but then that gave through. I couldn't see initially. There was a lot of dust. I lost my tool during the fall. I was able to see light from the window on the Delta side, and then I could see light up above from the hole. I immediately looked up and called my crew, told them I was all right. Did a quick system check, nothing hurt. It was warm, there wasn't a lot of heat, but there was no smoke either. But the fact that I didn't have my tool and I couldn't really see well, I was in a tough predicament to self-extricate.
We came up with a plan instantly when I did go back upstairs, and I'm sure it sounded like a lot of chaos, but it was actually very calm on the interior, and the way it went was looking back, was very organized, even though it didn't feel like it.
I tried to reach for my radio. I couldn't grab a hold of the transmitter at first. Just out of the situation, just not really panicked, just kind of the realization that I fell through the floor. So initially I was worried about getting burned, but right when I landed there was no sensation of heavy heat. So that was strange. It was pretty surreal. It wasn't what I expected, which was a good thing. I mean, I was expecting to get hurt pretty quick.
Looked down in there and I could see Roy, and he was like, "I'm okay." So I knew he wasn't hurt right away, which was a good relief. And then right after that, I had somebody over my right shoulder right after I called the Mayday going, "What do you need?" It turned out it was Bittner, but I couldn't tell at the time, so I just went, "I need an attic ladder," and we threw it down there. And then Roy ended up getting himself up out of the basement with the stairwell. So it was definitely unexpected. I didn't see it coming, for sure.
And I opened up the wall that was at the top landing of the stairway, and that's where I could see into the basement. I couldn't see the bottom of the stairs because it was very dark at the bottom of the stairs, but through that wall I could see firefighter or paramedic Lapid standing there. There was no fire down there, it wasn't very smoky. And then at that point I heard them getting a ladder to go into the basement, and I called to firefighter paramedic Lapid and told him to come to me because I had no idea exactly what was in there. I wanted him to come and stay away from a collapse or whatever was in there.
Crew unity and identification is key. My intent was to get everybody organized, deploy a company for rescue, keep companies on deck, but things progressed so quickly that before I could even get crews identified, we had the firefighter out.
We had medical immediately available for him to check him out. He confirmed that he was not injured. We did an evacuation of the building and kind of reset ourselves because we still did not have the fire located.
Once we got the crews reset, reorganized, we allowed crews into the basement, into the first floor, and to the second floor to check for fire extension, to conduct a primary and secondary search, to make sure that truly the fire was out.
The fire had extinguished itself. That's where the water had de-sweated the copper piping and had extinguished the bulk of the fire.
That was very hard, I think, for a lot of us to make that switch, thinking that you may have lost somebody, back into a strategy to attack the fire. That was a very hard transition to make.
And it is reliant upon the individual, the crews, to make sure that they don't self-deploy. As much as they want to, we still didn't know where the fire was at, and we still had a fire to put out, and so we really needed to make sure we had crews available to do that. You're going to run out of people, and you need people coming, and you need crews available to take over that, because it sucks up all your resources so quickly.
There's just an emotional thing when it happens for real. I know we train Mayday all the time, but I don't think you really get a real grip until that type of thing happens for real. And you instantly, not only are you trying to deal with the problem at hand in a very quick matter, you're also having a lot of emotional things when you think one of your brothers fell through.
The department has done a good job of training their people to be incident commanders, to be leaders, to deploy properly, matching the strategy to the incident. However, those policies that are not current or up to date have led to ambiguity or confusion as to what we're supposed to do in the event of a Mayday. We've assembled a team of people to review this incident thoroughly. We will review our policies, we will take their recommendations, and we'll make some adjustments so that our policies match really the way we're supposed to practice as an industry standard and the way we should practice in the best interest of our member safety.
It was just frustrating that it happened. But the way it ended up was a good situation. And I think it was important. I think as a department we needed that, just to show our guys that these things do happen and we're not immune to it. And all the training we do is for these situations. You always think it's not going to happen to you, but it did. So I'm just glad it didn't end up the way most of these things end up.
I'm really proud of the work that the crews did, and the work that the crews did that day overshadowed any shortcomings that we have in policy or in practice or personal behaviors.